What is up, everybody? My name is Andrew Mencher, and this is the Wisdom in Sound Show. If this happens to be your first time with us, thank you for showing up. This show is about bringing you some information that will help inspire you. If you're a musician or a creative individual, this show is for you. If you do find value in what you're hearing, please give me a 5-star rating on iTunes. I do not make any money from this. This is strictly for my passion and to bring together awesome people to form an amazing community. If you can also share this with your friends and family, that would be killer. I will return the favor in any way I can. If you let me know, I will give you a shout out on the show without a doubt. Another thing you can do is send me your feedback about the show. I would love to hear from you. You can always email me at andrew@wisdominsound.com. I also accept music submissions, so if you're a band or an artist and you have some great examples of your music, you should definitely send it my way, and I may put you on the show. Today's guest is an amazing artist, as always. She's a drummer, she plays bass, she plays guitar, piano, she sings, writes her own music. She actually just released her first album. Her name is Elise Trouw, and it is my absolute pleasure of having her on the show. So Elise, how are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking your time to interview with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you're currently up to?
Yeah, so I started drumming when I was about 10, and I've been playing music since I was 6. I really got into songwriting and stuff when I was around 12, and have been working on my album for the past year and a half, so it was released about a month ago. And yeah, so I mean, my background, I'm only 17, so it doesn't go back that far, obviously.
No, that's cool, though. You said you started playing when you were 6 or so?
Yeah, I took classical piano lessons. I was super into it, and then once I got the drums, piano went out the door for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, that definitely, I think I had a pretty musical upbringing. My parents brought me to a lot of concerts when I was younger. Actually, my sister was really into Barry Manilow, so that was the first concert I went to. It's kind of funny,
wow.
but so Barry Manilow. Then we saw an Indigo Girls concert, Nickelback actually, before they had a bad rap, I guess. I still don't understand that, but yeah, whole bunch of different a huge variety of bands my parents took me to. So yeah, definitely a musical childhood.
Right, that's cool. So would you say they played a large part in your career so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've been super supportive. Neither of them are like musicians, but they just like were really open to introducing me to different types of music. And when I asked, they didn't like force me to take piano lessons or drum lessons. It's just like when I asked, I was really like really kind of pushy when I was younger about getting lessons. So but they like let me, and they let me on drums. It was a little harder to convince them, but after like 3 months of lessons, they got me a drum kit, and they like realized I was more serious about it. They became more supportive, and I mean they were supportive the whole time, but they definitely, I'm very lucky. I have great parents.
Yeah, totally. Sounds like it. I was reading that you kind of got your first taste for drums through the game Rockstar.
Rock Band, right.
Rock Band, okay.
360, yeah.
Yeah. So previous to that, though, you hadn't played drums or anything like that? How did that come about?
So yeah, I mean, we just got that game, and then I liked playing the drums on there, I guess. So I mean, I was 10, so like this is just like what I remember of it. But so I just liked playing the drums in the game, and then also my mom's friend, another mom, like her mom friend, was also she was taking lessons from a local musician, producer guy who played drums, and so that kind of also inspired me to start taking lessons.
Got you. Very cool. Would you consider drums your favorite instrument?
Yeah, probably. I mean, ever since I started singing a couple of years ago, that's kind of been my second favorite. So like drums is definitely my go-to, and then singing is what I've been spending a lot of time improving, and that's been a lot of fun for me also.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool. I know that you've been working, you said a year and a half on this new record.
Mhm.
How long did you know you wanted to do a record?
Well, I actually signed to a local record label here in San Diego, and I initially went as a drummer because like up until that point I was playing drums mostly like in school in this other thing called School of Rock with like other kids and jamming with other kids, and I was doing a little bit of songwriting and singing, but really not much at all. I was kind of like honestly pretty bad even when I was younger there. But so I went to the record label and they're like, oh, she's a drummer. Maybe we'll find her some bandmates. We'll put a band together, something like that. And then the producer guy came over to my house and was like, oh, you also sing and play all these instruments. You should make a song or an album where you play everything.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a cool idea. And so I decided to do that. And so I guess it took a year and a half probably because I was really learning how to songwrite a lot. Like a lot of it was a learning process for me because I'd hardly really written full songs before, and my singing was not the best. So a lot of it was spent like practicing and songwriting on that end, and also just like learning about the recording process because I was really new to that. But yeah, I mean I guess it really just once the idea happened, that's when the album started being recorded.
Right,
or not being recorded, but being written and recorded.
Sure, got you. And did you write a lot more songs than you put on the album?
I probably only wrote like maybe like 20 songs to like 10 on the album.
Okay.
So not a whole ton, because a lot of them, like the little songs I would come up with, I would end up making into full songs and putting them on the album. I think I had a good sense of like what was working and what wasn't early on. So like I have a lot of little demos and riff and lyric ideas laying around, but I guess like the development of a song, I like will sometimes I'll just know like, oh, this isn't working, like after a verse, and I'll dump it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean I recorded like 2 or 3 other tracks that didn't actually make it on the album that were like fully recorded and stuff, but they just didn't really come together. So I think I might save those and redo them for the next album.
Maybe like an EP or something in between.
Yeah, something like that.
I was reading a little bit of your bio, and I read about you had a little trouble with the contract or whatnot with Pacific Records. How did that come about, and how were you able to overcome that challenge?
Right. So there were just some things in the contract that weren't being fulfilled on their end, and so I ended up leaving the. It was pretty easy to leave the contract because they weren't fulfilling their end of the deal, you know. So it just kind of ended up being a good learning experience for me, and I continued recording independently. That was about maybe like a fourth of the time making the album was with them. Then the rest of it I spent doing it on my own.
Really? Okay. That leads me to my next question. Do you have a team behind you now, or a manager or anything like that?
No. I mean, I manage myself, and then my parents are really, they help me with some of the business end of it, for sure. But as far as like musically and like social media, all that is pretty much just me.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. How did you build your social media so large?
It really started on Instagram. So I started starting to push that because of the album. So before that, I'd only really released a couple of videos on YouTube, like live performances for the School of Rock, and a couple from when I was like 10 or 11 playing drums, just like messing around with videos. Yeah. And I also had entered the Hit Like a Girl contest in 2014 or 13, 14, 15. And 16, I think. And in 2015, I was a finalist. So that video kind of picked up a little on YouTube. But I started posting the drum videos and other kinds of videos and pictures on my Instagram account. And the first one I posted was reposted by the ProMark page. And so that really helped start getting the ball rolling. So that was probably like the first couple hundred followers, and then after that, it was a lot of like trial and error. So I would look at other people, see what they're doing with their like hashtags. I'm like, how does all this work? Because like there isn't really a comprehensive, like, Instagram doesn't tell you all about their you know, their how it all works. So it was a lot of just trial and error, seeing like, oh, lighter colors work better, or more bright pictures, or video content, it works great, or hashtags, you can do 30 of them and you can put them in the comments or whatever, you know, lots of stuff like that. So over the last couple of years, I've just really been or not a couple of years, I guess like 1.5, 2 years now, but I've been learning about Instagram and I guess Facebook and YouTube too. I mean, most of my push has been on Instagram, just because I think I chose that social media platform because it's really like it was at the time like a very cool and hip place where a lot of musicians were like able to share their music, I guess. Right. And also it like kind of fits the mentality of the short-lived attention span, you know. As opposed to YouTube, where I mean YouTube is a great platform for artists, which is why I'm trying to get more into that. But Instagram is really also really cool that way.
Yeah, totally. No, these are really powerful tools, you know. I mean, it's for the audience to know, that's how I linked up with you, is through Instagram. And then I saw Annie and Hannah on Instagram. So it's just like I'm kind of connecting with everybody on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I love talking to other people about their experiences. That's why I've never actually met Annie and Hannah in person because they live halfway across the world. But just emailing and doing the collaboration with them and chatting with other musicians online and in real life, it just, I think social media is a great way for connecting with other musicians like that, you know, and that's definitely one of the benefits of like putting yourself out there on social media, is that you find people with similar interests, similar tastes, and musical style to collaborate with. And so that's definitely been one of my favorite parts of building social media.
Yeah, absolutely. In addition to that, you're also putting out videos like how to record your drums, and, you know, you were giving some tips of like, oh, export it 48K, you know, it's like that is really good stuff for people to absorb. It's not just your ability or videos of your drumming, but you're also kind of giving tutorials and interacting with people. Do you think that's what attributes to a lot of your connections?
Yeah, I haven't done too many of the tutorial style videos. I've been thinking about getting more into it. I did that one with the beat it's a online drumming community, and so they were doing a feature on me, and so that's where that came from. But I think just like the openness of like being open on social media about like what you're doing and how you do it is really a good way to connect with people, because you know, just like lets them know what you're doing, how you're doing it. And so I think, I like to keep my like social media on social media. I like to keep my, I guess, musical life open, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's important, you know, people connect with you, you know, you say something or do something that resonates with them, and obviously they know you're a real person, you know, so.
I think that's definitely an important factor of social media, because it's a personal connection, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
And the ability to really like express your art and yourself through a 1-minute video, which is it's crazy and it's difficult, but it's I mean, if you have enough of them, you know, little squares add up.
Yep. No, for sure. I mean, the ability to convey your talent and your message within a minute like that, that's a skill in itself. So
definitely, I agree. Especially in today's world with social media, it's like opened up opportunity for more people. So it's more people have access to it, and also it's more competitive. So, but beyond being a good musician, you have to like learn how to market. You have to learn how to do all that. So it's not. I'm not sure if it's something that I've always like dreamed of doing, like marketing on social media, but it is something that I've actually grown to love because it's
right.
It's fun, you know. It's like I always think of it like you know, I play the game Civilization 5 on Steam sometimes. I got really into that game, but it's kind of, you know, similar kind of. You have to learn the rules and like learn how it all works, you know.
Yeah, for sure. How much time do you spend on social media, do you think?
Yeah, I probably spend more time on social media now that I'm active on it. I mean, before, I really spent so little time on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and virtually no time on Twitter. I didn't even have a Twitter account before. But since starting my Instagram account, that's really changed my perspective of social media, you know. So I spend a good amount of time on there, but a lot of it is like seeing other people's work. So I think it's I try to like limit it to a certain extent, but I still like being able to see what other people like Hannah and Annie are doing with their music, and it's good for like staying connected that way. But I think it's it's what you make of it, you know.
Absolutely. Do you plan your days like, okay, I'll spend an hour doing social, I'll spend an hour doing drums, an hour piano, hour of this and that? How does your day usually look?
Definitely not. I wish it was that like simple, but I mean, if I look at the last couple of days, like yesterday I was at a photo shoot from like 9 to 6. It was just this crazy fun. I had so much fun, and it was just like, it was creative shoot. And then like sometimes I'll go to like last night I also went to this jazz jam. So I try to, I don't know, my days are totally random, you know. I just kind of plan it month by month, week by week, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I try to practice as much as I can, and I don't really have a really strict schedule in that sense.
Right on. Well, I do want to play a tune from your new album. I know this one was written in 2016, but it's still a goodie, in my opinion at least, so I hope you enjoy it. It's called X Marks the Spot, and of course it's by Elise Trouw.
Jumping overboard is how we like to get away from it all. Paddle out to see what's beyond every rainbow we ever saw. There's something out there. Let's take a shot.
I read you started your own record label. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So I started my record label. It's called Goober Records. I started to release music under it. So I released my album under that label, and I think just to have that kind of structured format to release music under. I think it's also just good to have the experience of like knowing how that business end works, you know.
Sure. Do you plan on working with other artists?
That's a possibility, definitely. So like I'm thinking if I do like collaborations with people and we're like, oh well, we did this song together and it's not really going on either of our albums, I can release it under my record label and it kind of have it be like a collective in a sense, not as much as like a traditional label, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I know of a group, it's like a co-op, and they give financial backing to bands and artists and then not charge them any interest on it. So I don't know how it all works, but I like the idea of co-op, you know?
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. You started getting into the engineering side, is that correct?
A bit, yeah, with like my videos and stuff, but
Right.
yeah, my album was all recorded at Pacific Beat with Alan Sanderson. And one track actually with Hoffy up in Escondido, Christopher Hoffy.
Cool.
And but yeah, I mean I'm a little bit into the engineering side, but not as much as like the video and musical side.
Right, I got you. You're more the artist than
Right.
Technical.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like I've met people who are just so good at the technical side that like I feel no need to learn that almost.
Right.
That I think I don't know. I spread myself thin already with instruments and with video and social media. I think audio engineering is something I know the basics of, and I feel like that's enough for now, at least for me.
Well, I'll tell you, the recording on the beat, you had the little Audix pack and you showed the kick and snare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded really good because that was your music, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I normally, with the drum videos, I do like a kick and an overhead, so not that much, but actually with this latest one that I posted, actually Pearl just reposted, I think you can find it there, but I did like more of a full miking setup, so I did like overhead, kick, snare, and then all the toms.
Okay.
I'm trying to like take my drum miking to the next level in that sense, because I have the mics, I'm working on getting the skill up, you know?
Yeah, for sure. What are you recording into? Pro Tools or something else?
Yes, I record into Logic.
Right, okay.
And then the interface, I use this audio box, I think it's 1818, like VSL or something it's called. Yeah, so that's for drums, and then I use the a Apollo Duo for my vocal and for like guitars and pianos and stuff, or keyboards.
Perfect. No, it sounds really good. All the recordings are like right on point, so you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. How did you link with Alan Sanderson?
I originally met him through the record label, and then I just continued working with him even after I left my contract, because I loved his style, and just working with him, he's a really good guy to work with.
Right, yeah, absolutely. No, the record sounds good. I've been jamming out to it all day, so.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, my personal favorite is track 10, Awake.
Okay. Where does your inspiration come from?
I have no idea from that sense. I mean, when I was 6, I started the piano lessons after I asked them for piano lessons. I'm like, I really want to play piano, because I heard the song. I just would listen to music all the time in the car with my earbuds. And the song, My Immortal by Evanescence, I was like, oh my god, that piano part, I want to play it. So I started taking piano lessons and ended up loving playing piano. And I would practice all morning, all night, just all the time. And then when I started playing drums, the drums, I don't know why, like what it was about them. I think, actually, I mean, when I was younger, I was pretty OCD about a lot of things, and so I would count like my steps and count a lot of things. So like that, I feel like that might have, I don't know if that's a far-fetched connection there, but I think there's obviously a lot of counting in drums. So yeah. I think that might have actually been like one of the reasons why it really stuck with me, you know?
Sure. Were you in music classes in school?
Not in elementary school, really. We did like, I did flute, and I was really bad, but in high school and in middle school, I did some orchestra, like with timpani and whatever, but I joined the jazz band in 8th grade, and so that was like the main thing. That's where I like really took to jazz drumming, because before that I had just done rock drumming, really, like rock and a little bit of funk kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where kind of like the jazz inspiration comes from the albums, the album, not albums, but yeah, because we would play songs in jazz band, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's a really cool song. I'm gonna go listen to it and listen to this recording and this, and it just kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, indeed. Has all your endorsements come through your Instagram? I know you're sponsored by, you said Regal Tip and Pearl?
Right. So Pearl, so the Hit Like a Girl contest, when I was a finalist, I got some TRX symbols as part of the prize.
Got it.
And I met the guy there, David Levine. He runs TRX. He's the founder. And he introduced me to a guy at Pearl who gave me a discount on a kit, because I was playing a Pearl export, and then he got me a discount for a Pearl reference kit. And so
nice.
I've known them since before the whole Instagram thing, through the Hit Like a Girl contest. And so that I've really been, oh, maybe that was actually a little bit later, huh? Yeah, my bad. So, I mean, I met them before, but the reference kit happened a little later. But timeline's getting messed up in my head. But
yeah.
So I've just with Pearl drums, I've just been playing them for a really long time, and so that's kind of how that connection happened. And then a couple months ago, they reached out to me about doing a full endorsement instead of just the like artist discount. And
right.
With Regal Tip, I met them at NAMM actually. So I met this guy in the food court while I was eating a burger, and he's like, "Yeah, you should try out Regal Tips." I'm like, okay. So we walk over to the Regal Tip booth, and I meet the guys at Regal Tip, and the owners, and they were all so nice, and I loved the whole vibe and like the message of the company, and I love the sticks too. So I ended up signing an endorsement with them just a little while after NAMM this year.
Wow.
So I think the Instagram obviously did have an effect on those endorsements happening.
Sure.
But I think it was important for me to meet and connect with the company and the people I would be working with outside of just social media.
That's amazing that you brought those up about NAMM and these other conferences. How important do you view conferences?
Well, I've only been to NAMM like twice in the past. Like I went last year and then I went this year. I don't think it really. I think it's really good for real life, you know, connecting. Because when I went to NAMM the first time, I had started building up my Instagram because I was starting. I wanted to get something going online before I released my album. And I went to NAMM and I met a whole bunch of people just totally outside of the whole Instagram world. And it just, I think it's helped me a lot, as far as meeting people and connecting with other musicians. But I'm not sure if like going to that directly relates to social media. I guess social media definitely relates to the conventions, but not the other way around. Does that make sense?
Totally.
If I have the following, I have a following, then people will contact me when NAMM's going to be like, oh, let's meet up. So I'll connect with people online before and then meet with them at NAMM, or I'll meet people at NAMM and then they'll check me out online and be like, oh, I can see everything that this girl is doing now, because it's you know, if there's nothing available online, then it's harder for them to get a grasp of like what you're about musically and personally and everything. So right. I think it really helps since at those conventions you don't get to spend that much time with people. like social media is a good way to really help, like share your music, obviously. Yeah.
No, I think it's huge because it also shows your work ethic and also just how much work you're putting out too, because if you don't even have a social media or whatnot, it's like, how do we know you're even working? Are you really practicing? Are you really a musician? Are you really what you say you are, kind of thing? So it definitely means a lot.
Right. Yeah, there's all people on all sorts of, there's people who are the most legit people and they don't have any social media accounts, and there's people who have a bunch of followers but they're nobody, or it's totally it's really hard to gauge on social media. I think social media alone is worthless without the real life, like, meat,
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like something to enhance the music, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, you're doing a fantastic job, to say the least.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. If people want to reach out to you, where's the best place for them to visit your pages?
My Instagram account is Elise Trouw, so it's my first and last name. That's where I am on all social media, and my website's elisetrouw.com. I have a little contact page on my email, or on my website there, with different emails for different stuff like booking, press, whatever. And it's also an email on my Instagram bio in the contact button.
I'm actually at it right now. So it's Elise Trouw. That's ELISETROUW.com.
Yeah, so if you just type that into the search bar, it's a pretty odd last name, so it should, first couple links should go to me.
Yep, right on. And then there's links to your new record, so that's there. You can stream the whole album on Spotify right now for free, so that's really cool.
Right, so yeah, it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, Apple Music, all sorts of streaming sites.
Very cool. Well, Elise, do you have any last words to give to aspiring artists, or a piece of advice maybe?
The best piece of advice I could give is to keep playing with other musicians. I think it's so important to expand in that sense musically. I think if, practicing alone for an hour is nothing compared to jamming with other people for an hour, especially if those people are better musicians than you. That's why I love going to these jazz jams in San Diego at Panama 66. I'm not sure if you've heard of that club. It's kind of like a little restaurant, but I think, just playing, collaborating, songwriting with other musicians is the best way to connect and grow as a musician yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I'm only 17. I don't know if I give the best advice. I don't know. I don't know much, but that's what I would tell myself, I guess.
Nah, I think it's really great advice. So you can't get into clubs yet, is that the case? Yeah,
it's a little hard to do, especially in San Diego. It's such a bar town,
Right. You know what? I heard of people who were like underage, but they could still play at the club, but they couldn't like go to the club.
Yeah, like they just have to like walk in, walk out at the end of the set.
Right, yeah. Have you
experienced?
It's
like a good excuse for someone else to pack up my drum kit, but...
Indeed.
No, I'm kidding.
That's cool. Well, do you plan on putting together a band so you could start performing your album?
Yeah, so I do play around San Diego a bit. I play drums, and I have a bassist and a guitarist who play with me live.
Oh, good.
And I have, actually my show dates are not listed as of right now, but I have a little tab on my website with all the live shows. It goes to my Facebook page. So I have my CD release party coming up in May, which is, I know it's like after my CD release, but it's took a little while to get it together. But it's to celebrate that. And then I'm playing at Adams Avenue Street Fair on April 29th.
Cool.
And so I have a couple gigs around town coming up, but I'm definitely working on getting my live show together more and to start playing more regional and national gigs.
Very cool. All right, Elise, well, thank you again for everything. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I really hope you're feeling inspired right now. Elise is not even 18 yet, and she's doing all this amazing work. So if you're not ready to write your album or practice your instrument, you gotta step it up for sure. I know I'm about to pick up some drumsticks and work on my rudiments right now, without a doubt. If you guys are feeling it, please reach out, let me know. You can email me, andrew@wisdominsound.com. Also, I would accept 5-star ratings on iTunes without a problem. Everybody who has an iPhone has an app called Podcasts. All you have to do is search Wisdom in Sound on that app. Hook me up with a 5-star rating. Let me know. I'll give you a shout out on the show and return the favor in any way I can, for real. So definitely hit me up and let me know. Otherwise, if you can share this with your friends and family, I would really appreciate it. As I mentioned earlier, I do not make any money from this. You don't hear about any advertisements or endorsements other than my guests. And that's pretty much how it's going to continue, because this is all about you and the community that I'm building. And I want to give you the best experience possible. So I thank you so much for being here. My name is Andrew Mencher, and this is Wisdom in Sound.